On a night when the temperature could kill, while everyone else stayed warm inside their homes, a young girl in a purple winter coat found a trembling dog buried in the snow, seconds from freezing to death. She carried him home and whispered that he was safe now, that nothing could hurt him anymore. But Chloe Taylor had no idea what Lucky was carrying. By dawn, 3 police cruisers blocked every exit to her house, and Sergeant Holt's voice shattered the morning silence with 4 words that made her heart stop. They're coming for him. What was hidden in Lucky's collar would turn her family's quiet home into a battlefield. The wind screamed through the bare branches like something alive and angry. Chloe's boots crunched through snow so deep it swallowed her legs up to the knees with every step. Her mother had told her 3 times not to go past the fence. Her father had said the storm was coming back, that the woods weren't safe when the temperature dropped this low. But Chloe had heard something out there, a sound that didn't belong to the wind. She pushed deeper into the tree line, her purple coat dusted white with fresh powder. The sun was already sinking, turning the sky a bruised orange that made the shadows stretch long and crooked across the ice. Everything was silent except for that sound, faint, desperate, like something trying to breathe. Then she saw him, a shape in the snow, dark fur matted with ice, ribs showing through his sides like prison bars. The dog wasn't moving, wasn't even shivering anymore. His eyes were half closed, frost collecting on his muzzle. No, no, no! Chloe dropped to her knees, ignoring the cold biting through her jeans. She pulled off her gloves and touched his neck. Still warm, barely. "You're okay," she whispered, even though she wasn't sure if it was true. "I've got you." She tried to lift him, but he was heavier than he looked. His body hung limp in her arms, and for one terrible second, she thought she was too late. Then his chest moved, just once, a shallow, rattling breath. Chloe tightened her grip and stood, her legs shaking. The woods felt darker now, colder. Something about the way the dog's collar caught the dying light made her stomach twist, but she didn't stop to look. She just ran. Chloe had just gotten Lucky wrapped in her thickest blanket when she heard her mother's footsteps on the stairs. "Chloe Marie Taylor, why is there a trail of snow leading straight to your—" Amy Taylor stopped cold in the doorway. Her eyes went from her daughter to the soaking wet dog trembling on the bedroom floor. "What is that?" "Mom, please, he was dying." "Greg?" Her mother's voice cut through the house like a siren. "Get up here, now." Her father appeared seconds later, still holding the TV remote. He looked at the dog, looked at Chloe, then back at the dog. "Where did you find him?" "The woods. He was frozen. I couldn't just leave him." Greg knelt down slowly, extending his hand. Lucky's eyes tracked the movement, but he didn't sniff, didn't wag, didn't do anything that dogs were supposed to do. He just stared, watching, waiting. "Something's wrong with him," Mom whispered. "He's scared," Chloe shot back. But even as she said it, she wasn't sure that was true. Lucky didn't look scared. He looked like he was calculating something. Greg reached for the collar, trying to check for tags. The moment his fingers touched the metal, Lucky's lip curled back. Not a growl, just a warning, a flash of teeth that said, "Don't." Greg pulled his hand back. "That's not a normal collar. It's too heavy, too—" Lucky's head snapped toward the window. Everyone froze. The dog's ears were flat against his skull, his body rigid. He was staring at the glass like he could see straight through the curtains into the dark backyard beyond. Chloe followed his gaze. The window reflected nothing but their own pale faces. But Lucky kept watching the shadows. Chloe waited until her parents went downstairs to argue about what to do with the dog. The moment their voices faded, she turned to Lucky. "Let's get this thing off you." The collar was thick, thicker than any dog collar she'd ever seen. The metal felt cold and heavy, like it was made of something denser than steel. No buckle, no clasp, just a seamless band locked around his neck. She tugged gently. Lucky didn't resist, but the collar didn't budge. "How did they even get this on you?" she whispered. She tilted her head, trying to see if there was a hidden release. That's when she noticed them. Tiny markings etched into the metal, so small she almost missed them in the lamplight. Numbers. Letters, stamped into the surface like a barcode. FCI-DOD 7743, witness. Chloe's stomach dropped. She didn't know what FCI meant, but she knew DOD. Everyone knew DOD. Department of Defense. "What are you?" she breathed. Lucky's eyes fixed on hers, not like a pet, like someone who understood exactly what she'd just read. Her hands were shaking now. She traced the rest of the collar, finding more codes, serial numbers, coordinates, and one word stamped near the clasp that made her blood run cold. Protected. A bang downstairs made her jump, her father's voice sharp and sudden. "Amy, someone's in the driveway." Footsteps, fast, heavy. Lucky was on his feet before Chloe could move, his body blocking her from the door. His ears were pinned back, and this time the growl was real, low and guttural, vibrating through the floorboards. Chloe crawled to the window and pulled back the curtain. 3 police cars, lights flashing red and blue across the snow, and officers surrounding the house with their hands on their holsters. The police lights painted Chloe's walls red, then blue, then red again. Downstairs, her father was already at the front door. She could hear the lock turning, voices rising. But Lucky wasn't looking at the front of the house. He was still facing the window, the one that looked over the backyard. His whole body had gone rigid, muscles coiled like springs ready to snap. Chloe pressed her face against the glass, trying to see what he saw. At first, there was nothing, just snow and the skeletal shapes of the trees and the old swing set her dad kept meaning to take down. Then the light appeared. A flashlight beam, thin and bright, cutting through the darkness at the tree line. It swept left, paused, swept right. Someone was out there, moving along the fence, searching. "Mom?" Chloe's voice came out small. "Dad?" No answer. They were still at the front door, dealing with the police. The flashlight moved closer. Whoever was holding it wasn't walking like a cop. They were crouched low, staying just out of reach of the porch lights. Deliberate, quiet. Lucky's growl started deep in his chest, so low it was almost subsonic, the kind of sound that made every animal instinct in Chloe's body scream, run. Then the beam stopped, aimed directly at her window. For 3 seconds, Chloe was sure whoever was out there could see her, could see Lucky, could see the collar. Then the light snapped off. The backyard went black. Lucky didn't move, didn't stop growling. Chloe's hand found his fur, gripping tight. Her heart was slamming against her ribs so hard she thought it might crack them. Downstairs, someone knocked, hard, official. But Lucky was still staring at the window, at the dark, at whatever was waiting in the snow. The knock came again, 3 sharp raps that echoed through the house like gunshots. Chloe crept to the top of the stairs, Lucky pressed against her leg. Through the banister, she could see her father opening the door. 2 officers stood on the porch, breath fogging in the frozen air. Greg Taylor, the taller one, nameplate read Brooks, didn't wait for an answer. "We need to speak with you about a dog your daughter brought home tonight." Her father's hand tightened on the doorframe. "How did you... We just found him a few hours ago." "Sir, I need you to listen very carefully." The second officer, Weaver, stepped forward. She was shorter, stockier, and her hand rested on something at her belt. "That animal is federal property. We're here to retrieve the asset." "Asset?" Her mother appeared behind Greg. "That's a dog, a half-frozen stray my daughter rescued." "Ma'am, that animal is part of an active investigation. We need you to bring it out now." "You can't just..." "Mr. Taylor," Brooks's voice dropped. "There are people looking for that dog. Dangerous people. They tracked it here. If you don't surrender it, they will come through that door and they won't ask permission." Chloe's legs went numb. Her father glanced back toward the stairs. His eyes found hers. The look on his face said everything. "I don't know what to do." "Where's your daughter now?" Weaver asked. "She's upstairs, with the dog. We need to see her. We need to see it." Lucky's growl rumbled low beside Chloe. His eyes were locked on the officers, pupils blown wide. Brooks took 1 step inside, and Lucky's growl turned into a snarl that made everyone freeze. A third figure stepped through the door. Older, gray at the temples, 3 stripes on his sleeve. Sergeant Holt. He looked up the stairs, past Brooks and Weaver, straight at Chloe. His face was lined and tired, like he'd seen too many things go wrong. "Everyone needs to calm down," he said quietly, "especially the dog." Lucky's snarl didn't stop. Holt raised both hands, showing empty palms. "Chloe Taylor, that's your name, right?" He didn't wait for her to nod. "I need you to understand something. That dog you saved isn't a stray. He was taken from a federal facility 3 days ago. Stolen. By who?" her father demanded. "People we've been tracking for 2 years, the Rojas cartel." Holt's eyes never left Chloe. They needed something small enough to slip across borders, something no one would suspect, so they used him. Chloe's grip tightened on Lucky's fur. Used him how? His collar contains a bio-tracker, encrypted data, names, routes, locations, everything we need to dismantle their entire operation. Holt took one step up the stairs, and everything they need to stay in business, which means they'll kill anyone who gets in their way of getting it back. The room went silent except for Lucky's breathing. "They're already here," Holt continued. "We intercepted communications 20 minutes ago. They know this address. They know your daughter has him." He looked at Greg and Amy. "You have 2 choices. Give us the dog now and we relocate your family until this is over. Or—" A sound outside, sharp, metallic. Brooks spun toward the window. "Sergeant." "Or they come through that door," Holt finished, his hand dropping to his weapon, "and they won't leave witnesses." Lucky stopped growling. He was staring at the back door. The back door exploded inward, not kicked, not forced, blown off its hinges with a crack that sounded like the house itself was splitting in half. "Get down!" Holt shoved Chloe's parents to the floor as Brooks and Weaver drew their weapons. Lucky bolted up the stairs, dragging Chloe with him. 2 figures in black masks poured through the smoke. The first one had a crowbar, the second one had something worse. Brooks fired. The shot was deafening in the enclosed space. The first intruder dropped, but the second kept coming, vaulting over the kitchen counter like it was nothing. "Greg, the front door!" Amy screamed. Chloe's father scrambled to his feet, throwing his weight against the wood. He'd barely turned the deadbolt when something slammed into it from outside. Once, twice, the frame splintered. "They're coming through!" Greg braced his shoulder against the wood, but it was shaking, buckling. Weaver moved to help him. "How many are out there?" "At least 3 more, Holt barked into his radio. "We need backup now." The living room window shattered. Glass exploded inward as a gloved hand reached through, fumbling for the latch. Brooks pivoted and fired again. The hand disappeared. But the front door was giving way. Greg's feet were sliding on the hardwood, his face red with effort. The wood cracked down the middle. "Upstairs," Holt pointed at Amy. "Get to your daughter, lock the bedroom door. Do not open it for anyone but me." Amy ran. The front door burst open. Greg went sprawling. 2 more masked figures stepped over him, moving with the precision of people who'd done this before. Holt raised his weapon. "Federal officers, get on the ground." They didn't even slow down. They were looking up, at the stairs, at Chloe's room. Chloe's mother burst through the bedroom door and slammed it shut, her hands shaking as she twisted the lock. "Get in the closet, now." "Mom? Now, Chloe." Downstairs, gunfire cracked through the house. Shouting, something heavy hit the floor. Lucky was pacing between the door and the window, his movements jerky and frantic. He kept looking at Chloe like he was trying to tell her something. Amy dragged the desk chair under the doorknob. It wouldn't hold. They both knew it wouldn't hold. Footsteps pounded up the stairs, fast, multiple sets. The door handle rattled, once, twice. Then someone kicked it. The chair held in, but the wood around the lock started to crack. "Chloe Taylor," a voice on the other side, rough, accented. "Give us the dog and nobody gets hurt." Lucky's ears flattened. He backed towards Chloe, positioning himself between her and the door. Another kick. The frame splintered. Then a different voice, breathless and urgent. "Chloe, it's Officer Brooks. Open the door. I can get you out." Her mother grabbed her arm. "Don't. We don't know. The window exploded." Chloe screamed. A gloved hand punched through the curtains, scattering glass across the carpet. An arm followed, then a shoulder. Someone was climbing through. Lucky lunged, teeth bared. The bedroom door gave way. Not Brooks, a man in a black mask reaching for Lucky's collar. No! Chloe threw herself between them. Then Brooks was there, tackling the intruder from behind. They hit the floor hard, grappling. The man at the window was halfway inside now, his boots scraping against the sill. "Trust me," Brooks gasped, pinning the first man's arm. "Get the dog and run. Closet window, fire escape, go." Chloe looked at her mother. Her mother looked at Lucky. They ran. The closet window led to a rusted fire escape Chloe had forgotten existed. Her mother went first, then pulled her through. Lucky jumped after them, landing on the metal grating with a clang that echoed into the frozen night. They could hear sirens now, real backup, dozens of them converging on the house. By the time they reached the ground, the backyard was flooded with light, officers everywhere. The masked men were on their knees in the snow, hands zip-tied behind their backs. One of them was bleeding from his shoulder. Brooks emerged from the house, his uniform torn. He saw Chloe and nodded, once. Just once. Sergeant Holt appeared on the back porch, talking rapidly into his radio. When he spotted them, he walked slowly like he was approaching something fragile. "You did good, kid," he said quietly. Chloe's legs finally gave out. She sat down hard in the snow, and Lucky pressed against her side, still shaking. Holt knelt down. From his jacket, he pulled out a folder, official-looking, federal seals stamped across the top. "That collar comes off tomorrow. Federal lab will extract the data, and then Lucky here gets to retire." He opened the folder, showing her a document with her name on it. "The government wants to place him in witness protection. Needs a guardian, someone brave enough to keep him safe." Chloe stared at the paper, at her name, at the line waiting for a signature. "He's mine?" "He was always yours," Holt handed her a pen. "From the moment you pulled him out of that snow." Her hand was shaking so badly she could barely write, but she signed it. Lucky licked her face, and for the first time all night, his tail wagged. Behind them, the police lights kept spinning, but the shadows were gone.